people are sadistic in this world, and that's why I'm glad, very glad that I don't have children. Back to my brother again. Back to my brother again. The I'm seeing this post and it's making me upset because I'm just like, wow, here I am, a middle-aged woman. I've always been good. I never lied, never cheated, never, always been appreciative and thankful of, even now, of everything and everyone around me. I'm appreciative because you can't be appreciative and be hateful at the same time. And, gone through this legal system where I was falsely accused and convicted, never asked anybody for a dime. Never, ever. Never, you know, the only thing I asked for, I think, during that whole time was when my time at the shelter was up, which was I was court ordered too. Um, I asked, and that whole system thing is a trap. When they court order you to a shelter, you are not allowed the freedom to even let me so anyways, continuing right along. So when you are court ordered, to that type of environment, what happens is that it is a trap because you're put into a situation where you have no control or ability to do anything for yourself, including think for yourself, speak for yourself, do things that benefit yourself. You are institutionalized, and the point of institutionalization is to kind of get everybody programmed to behave a certain way. Now, people that have been in homeless shelters, in prisons, any type of facility like that are people that are outside of the norm. And when I say outside of the norm, um, not necessarily just in behavior, because there's a lot of people that are outside of the norm that appear to be in the norm. But these are people that, are just going about life living naturally. They're not programmed. And so the purpose of these institutions are to have people programmed. For me, my mom raised me great, great worth ethic, great interpersonal skills. As a matter of fact, I was rated personality plus, in high school. Now but what happens is that these systems and these places, they take away, your personality, your ability to rightfully say this is right and this is wrong. Because one of the um, most, I guess, disorienting things about the situation where I was falsely accused and convicted is that, everybody knew, and people, court officials were saying, oh, they probably did this because you spoke your mind, blah blah blah, you know, and they wanted to show you what they could do. Like, it was okay if you know this. Why are you not fighting to make the right thing happen? So it really skews your perception, your understanding of, and in the reality of what right and wrong is in this world. Basically, this world has no moral values. More quote unquote moral values is a tool that they use in order to um, promote or demonize whatever it is that they're trying to do. When you look at all these places that are donating money to Africa and all these different organizations, it's not about helping those people, because if it was about helping those people, what would be promoted is a sense of community. Because when you have all these organizations that have to pay for the advertising, the administrative people, and so forth and so on, that actually are responsible for, supposedly, giving aid, the majority of that money goes to the administrative portion of it, the advertising, the media, the paperwork, the press releases, and that type of thing. So I would just want you to be advised. I need to check on clothes, so I'll be back. All right, so this is part three. One, I just want to say welcome to South Florida. It's gorgeous out here. Today is January 3rd, 2014. It's about a quarter after 9 in the morning, and it is winter in South Florida. Now, the feel of today is like the first day of fall in Hampton, Virginia, as um, when I was growing up. That's what the feel is. It's a little bit of brisk in the air. I do need the sweater that I have on because it is chilly, and I have on jogging pants. So it's very comfortable, very nice, bright and sunny, beautiful. Continuing on with my story about institutionalization and the effects of it. So you take a person like me that was raised very well with my mother. My mother did a good, by my mother, she did a very good job. She made it a point to tell me about the snares and trappings of life. she raised me in the style of soul. So, a lot of pressure was put on me on being the firstborn. So what happens is the whole family is kind of torn apart by this, because not only am I not living up to, you know, what she had in mind for me, what she wanted for my life, but in addition to that, there's all this stigma that's placed on me. And because she worked so hard to build this family on her own blood, sweat, and tears, heartaches, and pains, to see me fail. She stepped aside. She didn't want me to go to college because she knew that basically it was a way of indebting someone. Anything that you needed to know, you could figure out on your own. And all of that money and time that you spend, is easily just taken away. And that's what happened to me. My goal was that I would make a lot more money, and the money wasn't just for the purpose of having money, but it was for the purpose of being able to provide for and support my mother in her old age. The unfortunate thing about it is that there is a fly or something buzzing around here. I don't know what it is. It's moving really fast. But the thing about it is that that was the only reason. My dreams were I was going to buy her a house in Hampton, Virginia. I was going to have me a condo or something in Washington, D.C. while I was going to finish my undergrad, take a break from my undergrad, and start a business in between my undergrad and my graduate schooling for about 2 years. I was going to start a business, get that going. After I got that going, after 2 years or so was in place, and I've established myself, had some fun, enjoyed visiting people, I was going to go back to school, get my graduate degree in law, mass communications, and I wanted to probably get a PhD in international business. Now, all of that was kind of torn apart, and part of it is the rule of procrastination, which is not something that, I was taught growing up. It may not even be something that's out there. That's something that and I devised a lot of things myself. That's something that I devised myself. The rule of, like they say, Murphy's Law, my law is the rule of procrastination. God has given you, or nature, whatever you want to call it, has given you all the talents, skills, gifts that are needed in order for you to succeed. Now, if you don't use those things, then eventually, because you're not making appropriate use of it, society or whatever it is that's out there will take it from you. Mine was taken from you. And then this time around, you have to work hard and you still have your assets. The only thing is not as easy, which is good because it's a step up, it's a learning process. So I have the assets that I had, but now I just have to work harder and make a concerted effort to bring about the change that I want, in the world and myself and life. And, truth be told, I may not ever, be able to purchase my mother a home. Um, I don't even know if I don't think my goals have changed. I don't want a condo in DC, you know, but I'm starting to realize that perhaps purchasing my mother a home physically is not, the goal that I'm striving after, but a home in her heart as well as mine, and letting her know that it exists. That is the goal. Back to my brother, which is what this whole thing. There's a lot of things stemming from that. Going back to that, the Facebook page, saw the post. The girl was very unappreciative. I felt she did so much in defense of my brother. I was just like, how dare you not even say thank you, to him. He bought you a car. He's taken in your child that is not his. So forth and so on. And just to make sure that they saw what I was talking about, because when you bring truth about and people don't want to hear it, they will make it into something crazy. I did the screenshots of what it was that was actually said. I sent it to my brother, and I posted it so that whoever could see it, including my brother. But my brother wasn't even trying to hear it. What he said was, "Oh, you must be crazy," and he was angry. It was all caps. You don't even have a family. And then on top of that, you know, whoever I guess talked to them on the side or whatever like that, there was some girl that was I guess studying law, and it was just horrible because then his girlfriend was just like, oh, go back to your homeless shelter and so forth. And it's a shame. And I made all of these pictures that I had. I don't have like the proper photo editing software, so I did it like in Microsoft Word, where I cropped these pictures of traditional, Korean celebrations that I had growing up, and I used, my then niece's pictures, and put them in there because I wanted to celebrate. And she was like, "Oh, it's a shame you can't even see your own niece. You have to photo crop." And I was just, because you're on probation, and I'm like, wow, I was falsely accused and convicted. You know, I was like, I couldn't even believe that. And for him to allow her to say those things, it's not, I didn't was not able to see my niece because of my own doing. It was because I was falsely accused and convicted. I couldn't travel. And so that really hurt me. And then to have the fact that, I'm standing up for my brother, and for him to come and attack me along with him and call me crazy and tell me that I no longer have a family. And, I really did love. I mean, it hurts. And, but what can you do but accept it? And then on top of all that, all of the people that they knew friends wanted to jump in. Like some girl, I don't even think they were close friends, but she just wanted something to speak upon and jump in on. And she was like, "Oh, I'm a law something something something," and she was like, "I'll bust your teeth in." She was allowed to say that with no repercussion from my brother, no repercussion from my sister. The system allowed her to say that. That was a terroristic threat. This was something about my brother, you know. It was a family thing, you know. And let me see what's going on, because when people are like peeping out at you, there's a problem. Okay, so anyhow, so that it was what I assumed. It was a guy that worked here. He was like peeping out at me, but that's always odd to me. Like if you work somewhere, I mean, and you're peeping out to look, say hello, because obviously you're doing that because you're doing your job. And what happens is that you put this cloud of suspicion, like, okay, this person is doing something wrong. So I went in and I was just like, I noticed you peeping out, just wanted to make sure everything was okay. He says, "Oh yeah, yeah, it's fine." And I'm like, I'm just waiting for my clothes to dry and I'm out here blogging. He says, "Oh, okay, not a problem." So but also, when you've been falsely accused and convicted of something, little things like that, the normal people would just let go and not even mention, or be like, have an attitude and be like, what he looking at? I don't do that. It's like I want you to know, why I'm here, what I'm doing. And I also want to know, is everything okay in your opinion? You know what I'm saying? Are you perceiving something that is not true? And if I feel, and sometimes people do perceive things that are not true, and they want to hold fast to that. And when it gets to that point, you're on alert. You just get your shit and go. Which can also cause a problem, because people are crazy. They want you to be on alert, and so the fact that you just gathered your things and leave, that takes them out of a situation of control and power over you. And that's what it's all about, really. It boils down to mental control. But this family situation, that hurt really bad. I mean, and then my sister didn't say anything, but then, I mentioned to her before I, put it on blast, but then she came to me in my PM and was just like, "Oh, I love you so much." And I'm just like, and I put it out in public. I was just like, you know, that's not love, that's not love. That's in order to say these things behind in private, but you're not able to open your mouth and come forward in something public. Basically, to me, that's cowardice. And not only cowardice, but it shows the proclivity for duality, you know? And that's not something that I need. So I put that out there. She had nothing to say. And